They once established a dynasty together, uniting as brothers under the legendary Danaher Death Squad banner. Now, a bitter feud has engulfed them, spreading across every mat and social media feed. How did two of BJJ's biggest names, Gordon Ryan and Nicky Rod, go from tight teammates to full-blown rivals? We're not just talking about a sports beef here. This is a whole saga of alleged betrayals, public accusations, and a brutal desire to be the one and only king of the grappling world. Section 1. The Golden Age. Danaher Death Squad. To really get why things are so nasty now, you've got to understand how tight they were. For years, the Danaher Death Squad, or DDS, was the monster under every BJJ competitor's bed. Led by the mysterious John Danaher, this crew, which included Gordon Ryan and a rapidly rising star named Nick Rodriguez, aka Nicky Rod, was an absolute force. They didn't just win, they steamrolled people, changing the no-gi submission game with a super systematic and honestly pretty ruthless style. Ryan was already on his way to becoming a prodigy, maybe even the GOAT, and Nicky Rod, this athletic freak with insane power and a crazy work ethic, was his main training partner and standout student. They trained side by side, basically lived and breathed jiu-jitsu under Danaher's watch. Gordon often talked up Nicky Rod's potential, and Nicky, well, he soaked up everything he could from that elite environment, from Danaher's teaching, and from Ryan's experience. By all accounts, they were close. Ryan has even said he was a big reason for Rodriguez's early success, a comment that definitely foreshadows the bitterness that exploded later. This was their golden era, a true brotherhood forged in the fire of top-tier grappling. The BJJ world just watched in awe as DDS racked up titles, looking pretty much unstoppable. Section 2. The Fracture, the DDS breakup. But, like a lot of empires, the Danaher Death Squad eventually hit the skids. In 2021, the BJJ scene got a shocker. DDS was done. The reasons were a bit murky at first, but it slowly came out that there were serious tensions inside the team. Nicky Rod, on a podcast later, mentioned animosity in the room and inner issues that just made it healthier for everyone to go their own ways. He said, "You have too many lions in one den, it can get rough. We separated because it's definitely more beneficial to go our separate ways. We were just having a little bit of animosity in the room, and it was taking away from our ability to learn." The split wasn't exactly smooth. Two new super teams rose from the DDS ashes. Gordon Ryan with John Danaher started New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. Meanwhile, Nicky Rod, along with other ex-DDS guys like Craig Jones and Nicky Ryan, Gordon's own brother by the way, co-founded the B Team. And in a twist of irony, both teams set up shop in Austin, Texas, making the city the new hotbed for American Jiu-Jitsu and a prime spot for future showdowns. For Gordon Ryan, this wasn't just a team breaking up, it felt like a massive betrayal. He saw Nicky Rod as his protege, someone whose career he'd personally helped build. So, Rodriguez leaving to start a rival camp? That cut deep. Ryan hasn't been shy about how frustrated he was, feeling like it was a huge lack of loyalty. This feeling of being wronged by someone he thought was a close teammate? That was the spark that lit the fuse for this whole feud. The battle lines weren't just between two teams anymore, but between two guys who used to have each other's backs. Section 3. The Escalation, Social Media Warfare and Accusations. Once the team split was official, those private tensions blew up for everyone to see. And where did this war play out? Mostly on social media, where Gordon Ryan, Nicky Rod, their fans, and even other big names in BJJ started going at it relentlessly. Gordon Ryan, who was already famous for being brash, outspoken, and honestly, often trying to get a rise out of people online, went after Nicky Rod hard. Ryan constantly made fun of Rodriguez's skills, especially if Nicky Rod had a tough time in a competition. A perfect example? When Rodriguez lost to Victor Hugo at a UFC Fight Pass Invitational, Ryan jumped all over it, trashing Rodriguez's wrestling and saying he was just trying and failing to copy Ryan's style. Ryan also ragged on the B Team's training vibe, making it sound like they weren't as serious as the disciplined crew at New Wave. But Nicky Rod wasn't about to just sit there and take it. He fired right back, questioning Ryan's legacy and his character. One of the biggest things Rodriguez has thrown out there, over and over, is that Ryan's success is due to the use of PEDs. Nicky Rod even publicly dared Ryan to get USADA, United States Anti-Doping Agency, drug testing. Ryan turned that down flat, saying steroids weren't illegal in jiu-jitsu anyway. Of course, that refusal just added more fuel to the fire and gave Rodriguez a go-to attack line. Rodriguez claims he can even tell when Ryan is on PEDs because, apparently, Ryan starts sending him random taunting messages. He's called Ryan not a good person and said the team split because of the kind of guy Ryan is, which made for a not good environment. The attacks got nastier and more personal. Rodriguez has called Ryan his life enemy, saying he wants to beat him not just on the mats, but financially too. Ryan, on the other hand, usually dismisses Nicky Rod's successes, saying anything Nicky Rod achieved was just because of what he learned at DDS, basically painting him as a less talented copycat. Their social media is just a non-stop flood of insults, call-outs, and attempts to tear each other down, keeping the BJJ community glued to their screens and often picking sides. Section 4. Key Flashpoints, Challenges and Public Confrontations. It hasn't just been online trash talk, though. A few key moments have really ramped up this feud, taking it from a war of words to some seriously high-stakes public challenges. One of the biggest headlines was Nicky Rod's $1 Million Challenge. After winning the first ever Craig Jones Invitational and its $1 million prize, Rodriguez got on the mic and called out Ryan for a winner-takes-all match for a cool million. This wasn't just a challenge, it was a massive statement, especially with that kind of cash on the line. Gordon Ryan's reply, at least according to Rodriguez, was anything but a simple yes. Nicky Rod roasted Ryan's response, calling it an evasive breakup text and word soup, loaded with conditions instead of a straight answer. Ryan did eventually fire back more clearly on social media, aiming at both Rodriguez and Craig Jones, another rival and B-Team co-founder. He suggested that Rodriguez and Jones each put up $500,000 or $1 million, and he'd match it for 2 matches on one night. But Ryan had a long list of conditions: no time limit, submission only, very little referee involvement, and competitors had to wear long-sleeve rash guards and spats, which was a dig at Rodriguez, who Ryan has accused of greasing. And here's the kicker. Ryan said the whole thing would happen when I'm healthy, if I'm healthy, and on a date and platform I decide. This conditional yes or counteroffer has left a lot of fans wondering if this mega match will ever actually go down. Rodriguez thinks Ryan's stalling because he's scared to lose, especially since Rodriguez managed to injure Ryan's foot in a previous match, even though Ryan won that one. This constant back and forth over potential matches, with huge money and even bigger pride involved, just keeps the rivalry boiling. Every call-out, every conditional acceptance, every accusation of someone ducking a fight or making excuses just adds another chapter to their public drama. Their actual matches, like at ADCC 2022 where Ryan won, or the UFC Fight Pass Invitational where Ryan won in overtime, but Rodriguez broke his foot, are picked apart not just for the jiu-jitsu, but for how they fit into this bitter personal story. Section 5. The Why. Analyzing the core of the feud. So, what's really driving all this bad blood? It looks like a nasty mix of feeling betrayed, massive egos clashing, and the intense pressure of being at the absolute top of a super demanding sport. For Gordon Ryan, that original DDS split seems to be where it all started. He feels like he put a lot into Nicky Rod's career, only to watch him leave and, in Ryan's view, become a direct and very loud competitor. That created some deep resentment. Ryan often sounds like a mentor who's been stabbed in the back, watching his former student challenge his top spot using tools Ryan thinks he helped give him. His trashing of Rodriguez's skills? You could see that as him trying to put Nicky Rod back in his place and downplay any threat. For Nicky Rod, it seems like this feud is about earning respect and making a name for himself, completely separate from Ryan and DDS. When he accuses Ryan of using PEDs, he's basically questioning how legitimate Ryan's dominance really is. If Ryan's strength isn't all natural, it changes how you look at their past fights and any future ones. And when Rodriguez says Ryan is not a good person and made for a bad training environment, It hints that the problems go way beyond just competition, pointing to serious personality clashes and maybe some old issues from their DDS days. Nicky Rod has even hinted the DDS breakup was to cut the poison out, strongly suggesting Ryan was the one person causing problems for most of the team. Both of these guys have incredible self-belief. You pretty much need that to get to their level. But when that confidence is aimed at each other, it turns into this never-ending public war. Ryan needs to be seen as the undisputed number one, better in skill and strength. Rodriguez is hell-bent on proving he's not just Ryan's equal, but better, and a natural athlete to boot. And let's be real, the constant social media drama plays a huge part. It's where they control their own stories, get their fans fired up, and, yeah, try to get under each other's skin. The more public the feud gets, the higher the stakes, and the harder it is for either of them to back down without looking bad. It's almost taken on a life of its own, like a show they're both starring in for the BJJ world. So, what do you think is really behind this whole thing? Is it genuine hatred, a super clever marketing ploy, or maybe a little of both? And who do you think would actually win if they finally threw down in that $1 million match on neutral ground? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want more deep dives into the biggest stories in BJJ, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.